Hello, Mr. Everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Oh, all right. So sorry, sir. I had to just quickly stream the class so that we can have it on record. So yes, welcome to class, everyone. Thank you all for joining in. So this is a rescheduled session for our week 4 of the Gypsy Mentorship and Internship Program. Thank you so much, Mr. Ridwan Badmus, for joining in. Sorry, the class is quite scanty. I believe it's because of how impromptu the scheduling was. Okay, so quickly, just so that our mentees are aware of your presence. So Mr. Ridwan is a tech lawyer, multidisciplinary privacy professional, and a CTO. His expertise expands across various specialized segments
I think we can
of the
skip
law
the
domains,
introduction,
encompassing
Dennis, right?
like
Just because to save time. Can you hear me, Dennis? I'm not sure if
oh,
it's
okay,
my
sir.
network
Thank you so
that's
much.
bad. Yeah, so I think we can just keep. Let's just dive in. Maybe we can have the good
Sir.
evening.
So,
Sorry, my bad.
all right, big data, and we don't want to waste any time. So we took the presentation in the last. I want you to maybe in the next maybe 20 minutes plus, help us just run through what you have for
Yeah,
us in the
maybe,
session. We'll
but
take
then
questions.
I have to leave latest by 8, maybe a few minutes before to 8, 10 minutes after 8, probably 8:05.
Oh, all right, sir.
So
So
yeah,
we
we
can
can.
just
I
take
mean, we can have it 20 minutes,
questions
probably 10 minutes each for each of the presentations if we have to.
for 10 minutes, for
Right.
20 minutes rather.
Okay. Now let's go ahead then. Thank you.
Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Sorry, Mr. Everyone, can you hear me? Sorry, I'm having issues, technical issues over here.
Yes, I can hear you now, but though it's breaking up, I think the network is a bit bad.
Yeah,
Bad.
yeah. So we took the presentation yesterday, and I don't think it was one presentation we had, and we took the presentation yesterday, and I don't think the presenter is on the call to take the presentation in the session. So what I was initially expecting, or how I thought we would run through today's class was we would just get to hear you share your thoughts on the topic for like 20 minutes, would ask questions, and then we'll call it a day. And maybe seeing that you probably went through the slides before the class, right? So that was my assumption, sir.
Yeah, I think that's fine. I think we can just go ahead. First and first, I want to confirm how many participants do we often have, in the AI session, on the AI sessions. So do we have? I know we can. I can see. I think this should be 7 participants. I mean, aside me and you. So I just want to confirm if, okay, we now have 10. So I want to confirm if we have, I mean, if that's the standard number of participants you have on the AI and emerging tech
Um,
sessions.
no, so we usually do have more people, right? But I think because of the scheduling, we are having quite a number of people joining late. So sorry about that, sir. But we usually have roughly 20 in class on a normal day.
Okay. Um, okay, yeah, that's fine. Did I hear you say 20?
Yes, around that estimate.
Okay, that's fine. It's just to ensure that I know I couldn't make the class on Friday, right? And I mean, I'm just seeing how I can, give back to everybody, like at least for everybody to
Hello, sir. We can't really hear you. I think your network is a bit bad. Hello, sir. Can you hear us, sir? We sincerely apologize. I think the network is a bit shaky. His network is a bit shaky this evening, right? So let's just give him a little time to rejoin, and I'm sure when he comes back, we'll be able to just in I think 20 minutes or 30 minutes, just address what we were supposed to address in class, and then we'll take a few questions, and then we'll call it a day. We don't want to keep you guys here for long, and he also has some things to catch up with. So while we wait for him to join back in, I'm trying to see how best we can reach through. Um, I'm trying to see how best we can try to reach back to him to get him back on the call. All right. Please, I want to encourage us. So this is more of a one-off situation, right? It's not something that we usually have to deal with. It was just because all our mentors that we had scheduled for the previous class were indisposed, so we had to shift the session. So coming this Friday, class will hold as usual. Please, I want to encourage us. Tax has already been shared. I think I did that early hours of Saturday, right? So please, please and please, please and please, as much as we can, let's get to work. We are normally usually supposed to have two groups present. I noticed, if I'm not mistaken, if it's group one that has in the last couple of weeks created new groups every week for their presentation. Uh, you guys can just stick to one group, right? The idea was for you to create one singular group that you could stick to all through the course of the program. You guys can use that one particular group to do as much work as you can. But saying that you guys opt to create multiple groups at the same time, that is still not a problem. We just want to make sure that you guys are doing what you're supposed to do in terms of the presentation, because the presentation are a key and core part of our session. They are what our mentors look at to know how to tailor their discourse in the session to your presentation. So please get let's kindly make sure to uh, let's kindly make sure to let's kindly make sure to be in such a sense that we are getting to work. It doesn't take so much for us to prepare our presentation. I'm sure if we even had it in mind, if a single person can do that, but seeing that is a teamwork, we expect that in 10, 15 minutes, you guys should be able to contribute equally to the work, right? So we do not expect that you guys should be having issues with submitting presentation, considering that you have a couple of days, roughly 4 to 5 days, right, per time, 4 to 5 days before the submission day. So please, I want to encourage us, once we are done with today's class, let's get straight to work. Submit your contributions to your group leader. Reach out to your group leader if your group leader is not active. If there are issues in your group, reach out to me. Let's see how best we can work around it. We have 8 other courses that we are running through. 8 other courses that we are running through. So it is hard keeping up with every single person and following up with every single group. So we expect that, saying that this is a course that you are getting a bit of value. You are not a bit, you are getting actual value from, right? We expect that you should be eager to want to participate and contribute to the overall task. I know we are busy, and I know that we are busy, and I know that our schedulings might not necessarily be the easiest to work around with, right? But like I said, this is just a 7 weeks program, 2 hours per per week, right? It is something that we can make do with, right? So please, we can also visit we can also revisit the classes that we have missed. Make sure to follow through on YouTube for any class that you have missed. Sorry about the delay, Mr. Ridwan. I think his issues are still very, very, very serious. He's finding it a bit difficult to join back in on the call. So please let's just give him a little time, right, while he joins us soon. Still trying to work around it. Thank you. So sorry that we had to manage like this in the session. Okay, Mr. Ridwan, I can see your back with us. Thank you so much, sir, for coming back on.
Yeah, so sorry, I don't know what's wrong with my network. It's just acting funny this evening. I'm so sorry. So let's just but can you hear me clearly or am I breaking up? I just want to confirm that.
So we can hear you clearly.
Okay, fantastic. So let's just dive right in, right? Um, I think we have two outstanding things to do. You know, you've confirmed that you carried out, I mean, you did the presentation the last time. So I think let's just go ahead with, I think I'll take questions. So, I mean, you might have specific questions as regards, probably what was discussed the last time in terms of the presentation, or probably in the course of, carrying out your research.
I can't hear
Um,
anything. Or is it just
hello,
me?
okay, it's not just you. I wanted to see if I could give it a bit of time. Mr. Ridwan, are you with us, sir? Wow. I think we may need to work on our options for what we use as the medium for classes, right? Network for some of us seems to be a bit of a challenge. So still, let's just wait a minute or two, right? And hopefully he will be joining us soon. Hello, sir.
Hello, I'm so sorry everyone. I'm joining from my mobile now to see if it's going to be more stable. So I don't know why it's so awful tonight. So because of time, I was saying that if you have questions, please feel free to drop them. Let's start with the questions. But then if you don't have, I think I might have a couple of things to say, just as some sort of highlighting some very important issues that I think lawyers and if you're law students, that's you need to start focusing on. I mean, to be, to be kind of more valuable, more relevant, in the ecosystem, in terms of where the economy, the digital economy, where the ecosystem and where the legal practice is also kind of heading towards, right? And from the topic, of the week, can you confirm you can hear me again?
Yes,
Just
sir, we can
to
hear you.
Okay, fantastic. Looking at the topic, I think we have exploring open AI and big data, implications of data privacy, intellectual property, and ethical AI modern applications. So there's a lot of things to look at here. I think the presentation which was shared with me, which I believe was what was presented on Friday as well, was mainly speaking about intellectual property aspects of AI, right? And I think it spoke a bit about the ethical aspects of AI as well. But then there are lots of things that can be taken from here. And I mean, it's starting from AI, open AI, definitely that should be you looking at, I mean, focusing on the company OpenAI, which is the company that owns ChatGPT, right? And I think sometimes, interestingly, maybe that's where the name came from. But when you're thinking about OpenAI, you could also be talking about open source AI models. So that's another way to look at it. But I believe we're talking about OpenAI here. But then I think the other reason why you need to, I don't know, maybe we could have discussed this with the person that's, probably, couched the, or structured, yeah, couched the topic, came up with the topic, if you're really referring to the company itself. Because I think it's going to be a disservice to other companies that are really doing great. If we're just talking about OpenAI as a company, but I think it's also still relevant if either the case, if you're talking about specifically OpenAI, the maker of ChatGPT, or you're talking about OpenAI, talking about different, open source, AI models, and then we have different. When we're talking about OpenAI, I mean, there's a lot of things to discuss there. And I think I just need to mention that as well, because we, as lawyers, what we're looking at sometimes is just how AI systems, especially if we're talking about chatbots, we're talking about, you know, generative AI generally, like Gemini, Claude AI, Grok, Perplexity, and the likes. So we could actually um drop everything in one box, one basket, but it's actually very, very different. The way a ChatGPT works, or the way the implications or the consequences of using the legal implications is actually different from the way Llama works, right? The way Mistral AI works. I mean, in terms of the kind of AI they are, and the terms and conditions they might actually have on their websites as well. I mean, in terms of like Llama and Mistral AI, they both open. I mean, you can look that up. OpenWeights AI. They are some sort of AI that you can. I mean, especially when we're talking about Llama. I mean, there are different ways people could actually contribute to it. I mean, Llama is from the ones you're actually very familiar with Llama. And some people might actually even be working with Llama, compared to all that type of AI. That's what you have on Meta, platforms, from your WhatsApp, Meta to Facebook, Instagram, and likes, right? So it's very important for you to know. So what I'm talking about when it comes to this open AI as the thing, not as the company, is you looking at the different types of AI we have, even specifically talking about generative AI. I'm not even talking about other types of AI. I mean, outside generative AI that's we're very used to. That's actually brought AI as a thing to the attention or to the knowledge of many people. I mean, we've been having the conversations regarding AI since 1960. You'd have had, or before 1960, I think 1950, actually. So, but when we're talking about, so what I'm saying is that we have other AIs like you're talking about uh uh outside general purpose AI. I mean, when we're talking about generative GPTs, right? Generative pretrained models, right? That falls on that generative purpose, general purpose AI. You can, I don't want to now confuse you now, but then so we have so what I'm actually getting to is that there are different kinds of AI, right? From the generative AI that we're familiar with, like I've mentioned, and then we have all the AI that might be doing some other sort of work, especially those that were available before the advent of generative AI. And when we're even talking about generative AI as lawyers, I think it's also important for us to understand how we got here, right? And some other technologies surrounding, generative AI. I mean, you know about agentic AI now, but do you know the difference between agentic AI and generative AI? Do you know when you are connecting something called RAG, that's retrieval augmented um uh, was G again, but retrieval augmented I can't remember what G stands for, but RAG is a way of is a way of when you want to fine tune your AI model in terms of what you want that particular AI model to do. So RAG is one of the way of of doing that, right? Fine tuning it to a specific use of specific purpose. So so we need to understand all these because they might have different legal and regulatory implications. All right. So I think that's the first one I wanted to just mention or talk about, from the topic itself. And then going from that, big data, big data is quite important. That's where it all started from. Without big data, and I'll say cloud computing, we won't have AI. And the reason I say cloud computing is that's the accessibility to or the access um to computing power, like large computing powers. I mean, without without computing powers, the huge large sort of computing powers we have now that cloud is kind of enabling, we wouldn't have been able to have AI, because I mean you would have heard about the kind of energy consumption. Energy is also included, but of course, when we're talking about most of these, technologies, cloud technologies that enable the huge processing that AI needs to work, is, I mean, um, okay. I think I'm losing my train of thoughts. But what I'm saying, let me explain that again. What I'm saying is that I was talking about the importance of cloud computing to the whole discussion, right? And I was talking about specific advanced cloud technologies that enable, even though we have some things. I mean, we have the concept of energy, huge energy consumption, but then without those advanced cloud technologies, it wouldn't have been able to even use energy to kind of make AI work in the first place, right? So there's a lot of things to so energy consumption, like in terms of probably electricity, or that's just the other side of the whole thing. So I mean, and as you may know, we have different sources of energy, right? I mean, from the main source of energy, electricity, to solar energy and the likes. So, and that's the reason we have the sustainable issues surrounding AI, the use of AI as well. But then that's another topic. But that's another thing that we also need to kind of consider, because we as lawyers, because we might also be advising or even trying to structure how companies could make all these things work together. I mean, in terms of when it comes to ESG, right? Specifically, the environmental of the ESG thing. So, so there are lots of things to look at, right? And the interesting thing is that all of these could actually be connected. Maybe you're drafting an agreement, maybe a service level agreement, or an agreement that has to do with the provision of AI services to a company. So you might want to look at all of these things, because some company might want some of the competitive advantage, some of the things that they might want to, put forward as a form of competitive advantage, or if or a form of regulatory compliance, depending on the sector or in the industry they operate, could actually relate to ESG. You understand? So if you're looking at the companies, that's probably the company is trying to look for AI services, AI product that they could actually deploy, or they want to integrate AI into their already developed products. You might want to, one of the things that you might want to be looking at as a legal advisor, a legal counsel, might act, or an AI governance professional as a lawyer, is some of those things. I mean, some of those. I mean, it's going to be some sort of assessment, AI assessments, and these are some of the things that are going to be covered. And so it could be so. There are lots of things I'm already thinking about in terms of what you could do, maybe as a legal counsel, as an AI governance professional, or even I mean, there's a lot of things you could really do. Maybe work in a law firm or work in an AI company, and a lot of ways you could assist or bring value to the company as a whole. And there are many areas that you might actually be looking at, or that you might be calling the attention of the company to to focus on, and provide further resources. If you might not be, probably you might be. I mean, we know how AI is growing, especially in Africa, and the depth of resources we have. I mean, in terms of not having lots of talent, and not, especially in terms of infrastructures, right? So, I mean, there's a lot of issues, and it's going to be very difficult for. I mean, if you're starting up in that arena, in that space, there's going to be a lot of issues that you might need to handle. So, so aside the fact that you need to know all of these many things, another thing you might need is some sort of strategic way of handling things. How you can actually advise, because yeah, how to strategically advise companies to to navigate these issues, these challenges. All right. So so going back to big data, there's a lot of, so I was saying that without big data, then I think that was where I went from to talk about the importance of cloud computing. So the culmination, or the combination, or the connection between big data and cloud computing is actually what's brought about the ability to build powerful AI applications. So big data, there's a lot of things that has to do with big data, because when we're even talking about ethical AI, we're going to be talking a lot about bias, discrimination, fairness, and the likes. And you have to go back to the data that was used to train the AI to solve a lot of these problems. So you need to understand a lot of things about data. You need to understand how to work with data scientists, or data analysts, people that work with data, how to integrate, how to integrate ethical practices into the development of data that will be used to build AI models in many ways. So it could be from building the foundation models, right, up to when you're deploying or integrating that, when you are fine tuning the model with your own data. So I mean, you might not be the one building the AI model, but then you might be working with a company that is going to be using that AI model in their organization, but then they need to also bring in their own model, their data rather. And the process of ensuring that that data is clean is fit for purpose. All right, you need to come into advising what needs to be done. And I mean, we've not even started talking about ethically. I'm just talking about some good best practices when the organization is building the data that they're going to be using, or the things related to that. Um, and then going back to the topic, all the things that I think so that's the introductory aspects of the topic. Then we have implications of data privacy, intellectual property, and ethical AI in modern applications. And that's really lots. And there are various ways to approach these issues, and I mean, the issues I am talking about is looking at the connect the what's it called, the relationship between data privacy and AI, the relationship between intellectual property and AI, and what ethical AI means, and um, how can you really approach, or how can you really achieve ethical AI, right, in building or deploying AI. So I'll take a pause to see if we have. I mean, I said I was going to stop by 8 to 5. I mean, I only have 5 minutes more to talk about anything. But then I will see if we have any questions, and see if we could just answer those questions in the next few minutes. And I've said it a lot, and I like talking like this sometimes because I mean, we always have very, very short time to discuss complex issues. So sometimes I like talking about them as like an overview, like just giving insight into all the things that you can look into, right? And sometimes the way I approach it is just to talk about the resources that you can go to learn about these things. I think that probably if we don't have any questions, that's the next thing I'm going to talk about in terms of how you can, how you can, I mean, the resources you need, or where you can find these resources to learn a lot about these different things, just for everything to make sense, because it's really a lot, even for a professional that has been in the space for quite some time. It's a lot to keep track of and to wrap your head around. But then I think the best thing is actually for you to have a structure. And I really hope that I also need to mention that now I'm actually supposed to have been part of the
Hello, sir. Hello, Mr. Ridwan. Oh, sorry. I think his network is acting up again. So here's what we're going to do. I think what we can do is that we would be, sorry, my power just went out. What we can do, or what we'll be doing, is we'll reach out to him. I guess he even has to go. We'll reach out to him. He said he was going to send some resources to us, or send out some resources our way. So I would reach out to him privately to see if we can get those resources over to you. Sorry, we had to like really, really rush the class because of his own schedules, and also because a lot of things are just happening at the same time. So what I think we are going to do from here is, um, come the next class, right? Come the next class, that is our class on Friday. We will try as much as possible to maybe take some some cues, right? Some cues from what we started discussing, or what the overview he shared right here. Like I said, I'll reach out to him to see if we can get some of those resources. Oh, okay, sir. Mr. Ridwan, are you back with us, sir? Hello, sir.
Yeah, I'm here. Sorry, I'm back. So any
Yeah.
questions?
So I wanted to say that, seeing that you are a little bit short on time, you were saying some things about some resources that they can look at. I wanted to
Yes.
find out if it's going to be possible to share it, and then if they have
Um,
questions, we can forward the questions to you, and whatever response you give, then we can message it back. We can send it back to them. sorry once again. Sorry once again. Network has been a really, really big challenge for us over here. And for our mentor, literally we'll try and see how best to work on it. Coming in the coming sessions to ensure that we don't necessarily have to deal with this anymore. Sorry once again. So like I asked, or like I said, I would do well, or I'll do my possible best to reach out to him to see if we can get any resource material that he would like for you guys to have or share with you, to also further do research and things that you can get your hands on, just in line with what we have already started talking about. So yeah, I think what we will do is, if you have a question, please privately reach out to me, right? I would try and also send your questions to him. I'll send your questions across to him. If there are responses, or when he responds, I would send a response to you or to your group in general, right? If that is fine by you, right? We'll do that. I don't know if we should take pictures. Yeah, just for the sake of today's class, let's take pictures. My lighting is back, or my light is back on. Please, let's quickly take pictures. If you can, let's turn on our videos and let's quickly take pictures. Thank you, Grace. Okay, is it just Grace that can turn on her video? Let's quickly take pictures, quick, please. Thank you, Mohammed. All right. Yeah, so we are done with the session. Like I said, on Friday, we'll revisit some of the things that we've already started saying or sharing on in class. Thank you so much for still trying to make our time to be here present. We do not take your presence and the effort you put into the session for granted. Please, I want to remind us, let's get straight to work with our presentation, right? Let's get straight to work. I guess you've noticed that for some mentors, they do take out their time to prepare a presentation ahead of the class, right? So there's no reason why, if a mentor or someone who is supposed to come and speak to you, a professional who is supposed to come and speak to you within this field, is going to or makes a presentation for class, then you who has it as an obligation to is not necessarily interested in doing so, right? It doesn't show a level of seriousness from our end as mentees and us as the organizers, right? So please, let's make sure that for this week we are up to task. Submission date is on Wednesday. We have, I think, roughly 3 days, right? So let's get to work as soon as we can. Thank you everyone once again for making it to class. Please do enjoy the rest of your evening, and bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, all right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Sir, I sent you a DM since 4 days ago. You are yet to respond.
Oh, so sorry about that. I'll check it out and respond to you. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
That is Ola Twimbo, right?